Importing inventory items to add new inventory or update prices. If you have a price list that is provided to you electronically from your supplier, you can import it into your inventory list to quickly add new products and or change prices. You can also use it to just update prices. Before we look at the process in the program, let's look at the import or price list file, as you may need to edit this file for it to work. The import file. The import routine only accepts files in the format of comma separated value or tab delimited value saved as a text file, txt. If the file you have is an Excel file or a file that can be opened in Excel, you can use Excel to save the file into a tab delimited txt or comma separated value CSV file ready for import. And you should also remove any fancy formatting, report titles, graphs, etc. before creating the text file. You simply want a file that lists the items you wish to import with a header row that identifies what each field relates to. You may also need to edit some of the fields to import the information you want. So, let's open up a file in Excel so we can take a look at any adjustments needed. Firstly, let's look at buy and sell codes. If you are importing sell-only items, you must have a sell code. This could be called the product number, but there must be a unique sell code for each item. If you are importing buy-only items, you must have a buy code. Once again, this could be the product number, but a unique buy code for each item is required. The third type of file includes both buy and sell items. In other words, you buy the item and you resell the item. In this case, you need both a buy code and a sell code for each item. In our example, we already have a product code. We will use that for the sell code. Let's select that column, right-click, and copy that column. Now, let's arrow over to where we want it, right-click in the cell header, and click on the Insert Copied Cells. Now, let's change the column title to Buy Code. Just check a few codes to make sure the codes match the products. Okay, now we have our buy and sell codes. Let's just make another change as well. We will copy the item description that we can use as the cell description and insert the copied cells so they will also be imported as the buy description. Change the header as well. Okay, now if you are required to pay sales tax, you will also need to identify whether items are taxable or non-taxable when you import sell-only or sell and buy items. That will require you to add an extra column for this purpose. If you do not add an extra column to identify whether an item is taxable or non-taxable, the file will still import. However, all items that are imported as being taxable. If you are not required to charge sales tax and you do not have a tax column, the items will be imported as taxable. But no tax will be calculated when you do not have any tax rates set up. Okay, with all that said, how do you set up a tax setting column? Simply add a new column at the end of your file and call it Tax Setting. For each product that is taxable, record a T in the tax setting cell. For any items that are non-taxable, record an N. In my example, I am going to set most of the items as taxable, so I put a T in the first cell. Now I can position my mouse over the corner until it changes, and then, holding down my mouse button, drag it down over all the cells I want to include as taxable. Now, let's change a couple of items to non-taxable just so we can demonstrate this. So I will just navigate up to those items and put an N in the tax setting cell. Now, this next step is vital if you are importing both buy and sell items. You must tell the program whether the items you are importing are buy only, sell only, or both. So, once again, we must add a column and identify this. Let's call the column Inventory Key, as this is what it is called in the program. Internally, the program sets the value for a sell-only item to 1, a buy-only item to 2, and an item that is both sell and buy to 0. So, let's do this in our import file as well so they match. Let's identify these items are both buy and sell, so we give them a 0 value. And let's assume that these are items that we buy and use for our own use, so we do not resell them. As they are buy only, we record a 2. By the way, if you are just importing either buy only or sell only items, the process we have just done is not required because the program knows by your selection that all items are either buy or sell only. Now we are finished. Save your file as a tab delimited or comma separated value file. The import process. To import inventory items into the program, go to the File menu and select Import. Or you can also import inventory items from the Import button on the Inventory List page. By the way, please make sure you have backed up your file before proceeding, as we would hate to have you do something that causes problems that can't be reversed. Okay. The function of the first page that displays is to load data and import columns. The page is divided into 3 sections. The left section displays the information, the center panel has the processing options, and the right panel displays information about the process. Select the type of data at the top of the center panel to match your inventory items. The inventory options are Inventory, Sell Only, Inventory Buy Only, Inventory All. In the example, we are importing inventory items that we both buy and sell, so select Inventory All. Select the field delimiter, that's comma or tab, for your file. If the first record in your file contains column titles, click in the First Record Contains Column Titles checkbox. If the first line is an inventory item and not a title for the field, do not click in this checkbox. If you are adding new items, click on the checkbox to add new items. If you are updating the prices for items already in the program, click on Update Existing Items. If you are doing both, click on both checkboxes. If you are updating existing items, please ensure that the buy codes and sell codes are the same as what has already been recorded in the inventory. If they are not the same, it will not recognize that it is an item to be updated. And if you have also selected to add new items, add a new item instead. Now, click on the Load Data button. This will open the Windows Open File window so you can select your file. The file of type defaults to .txt, but you can change to a .csv file by clicking on the down arrow. When you have selected your file, click on Open. The information in the first record will now display on the left side, where you can select the columns to import and match them to a column name in the program. Review the list of import column names and click on the checkbox to remove the tick for any columns you do not wish to import. Move your mouse pointer over the column name cell for the first column to be imported. A drop-down box will appear. Click on the drop-down arrow and select the name that matches information in the import column. The inventory key in your import file identifies whether an item is buy only or sell only, or both. Note as well that a buy code is required for buy items and a sell code is required for sell items. By the way, the Cancel button will cancel and exit the import process. The Reset button allows you to start again if you need to. Once you have done that for all items, click on Next. The data from your import file will now be displayed. If you have selected to import a file that has both buy and sell items, you will now see a window to map the inventory file value in your import file to the program. In our example, we set the import file values to be the same as the program. So type in 1 for sell items, 2 for buy items, and 0 for sell and buy items. If your inventory keys are different, type in the value in your file. Now click on Next. Now we set the import file value for taxable and non-taxable. In our example, we set T for taxable and N for non-taxable. If you do not specify this, all items will be imported as being taxable. Click on Next to review your data. When you are satisfied that it looks correct, for example, the right data in the right column, click on the Import button. Your data will be imported and a message will advise when the action is completed. Click on OK. Click on Cancel to exit from the import page. Your updated details will now display in the inventory list.